Something that might shock you? Studies show that 93% of people who actively pursue perfection report higher levels of anxiety and depression. But what if everything we think we know about perfection is completely backwards? Well, let me share something fascinating from these texts. There's this paradoxical command to be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. But then it immediately suggests selling everything you own and giving to the poor. Like, talk about counterintuitive, right?
That's such a striking statistic, and it really connects to these ancient wisdom traditions we've been exploring. That reminds me of research showing how acts of radical generosity actually correlate with higher levels of life satisfaction.
You know what's really interesting? This concept of perfection through imperfection has historical precedent. In medieval times, many religious figures deliberately embraced what society saw as foolishness. They called it being a fool for Christ.
That's fascinating because it connects directly to modern psychological concepts about vulnerability and authentic relationships.
Right? And here's where it gets really wild. The text talks about the cross as something given as glory. Imagine trying to explain that in ancient Rome, that their primary method of execution would become a symbol of hope and transformation.
So, how do you think this ancient wisdom applies to our modern pursuit of perfection?
Well, look at social media. We're all trying to project these perfect lives. But studies show that the more people strive for digital perfection, the more isolated they feel. It's like these ancient texts were warning us about this thousands of years ago.
The way you put that makes me think about how Japanese kintsugi artists repair broken pottery with gold, making the imperfections the most valuable part.
Exactly. And here's what's mind-blowing: neuroscience is now showing that when we accept our imperfections, our brains actually become more adaptable and resilient. It's like this ancient wisdom about perfection through imperfection has a biological basis.
You know what's interesting about that? Recent studies in positive psychology have found that people who embrace their vulnerabilities report 40% higher levels of life satisfaction.
And let me tell you why this matters so much right now. We're living in an age where burnout rates have increased by 159% in the last decade, largely due to people trying to maintain impossible standards of perfection.
That really brings home why this message about hope holding this foolishry together is so relevant today.
Yeah, and check this out. The text emphasizes this cycle of rinse and repeat. It's not a one-time decision, but a continuous process. Modern behavioral science shows that sustainable change happens through repeated small actions, not grand gestures.
The way you describe that makes me think about how many successful people actually credit their failures for their biggest breakthroughs.
Well, here's something that might blow your mind. Studies of high-achieving individuals show that those who embrace what researchers call productive failure are 23% more likely to achieve their long-term goals.
That's such a powerful connection between ancient wisdom and modern research.
And you know what ties this all together? The text talks about being perfected in unity, suggesting that true perfection isn't about individual achievement, but about connection. Recent research in neuroscience shows that our brains are literally wired for connection over perfection.
Well, that certainly challenges our culture's emphasis on individual achievement.
Like, get this, a Harvard study found that strong social connections are a better predictor of long-term happiness and health than IQ, wealth, or social class. It's almost like these ancient texts understood something fundamental about human nature.
That really brings home why this message still resonates today, even in our technology-driven world.
So here's what I think it all comes down to. Maybe true perfection isn't about being flawless. Maybe it's about being fully present, fully connected, and fully willing to embrace our humanity, imperfections, and all. The data certainly seems to support that view.